Here we go. Got some bugs fixed. Given the choice between doing feature work, other bug fixes, or jumping ahead of the production planner, I'm going to do some data entry and see if we can find some new things to fix. Just got a rebuild of the calculated coordinate. Should really start calling it a production plan, not a calculator, because it just like it's for planning stuff. It is not just a calculator. Yeah, so the performance might be going down in the planner a bit, just like very minor state of dev thing. We'll do like another one at the end of the week. I had to take out the lit HTML guard directive that's wrapped around like these two views, because it was the quickest way of solving the issue of things not updating. I do have a changed property on the pool objects, and it's a choice between diagnosing, like diving into that rabbit hole of diagnosing why that isn't getting updated, or why making changes to it isn't kicking in. Maybe it's stuck on change and I haven't set the resolve thing in somewhere, or just turning off the guard and then getting getting to the issue later, because it'll perform like well enough. It's just, it does mean that it's going to be like updating that view, so yeah. So we have these two facilities entered in. Next facility is this one, and it does make me think, like the first idea I'm thinking of here is templates for new collections, because the first thing I'm going to be doing over here is the same thing I did the other day for over here, and the thing that I figured out for over here. So this is going to be one of those features that I possibly end up adding in and then not using so often, which is kind of how I treat blueprints. It's one of those things where the time it takes to figure out I should make this a blueprint, and then figure out how to optimize the blueprint and make the blueprint, it takes longer than just manually deploying the thing. It's one of the reasons why I don't use the like these placeholders so much anymore, because like outside of the 8 segment high buildings, can't use them. So let's open the notepad before I kick in. Pretty sure I'll put all those in the issue tracker, but I'll put a divider in. Templates for new collections. I want to be able to save a preset for a new collection, as I quite commonly have facilities with warehouse floors in the bottom. I was going to say basement, but it's not really a basement. Okay, so in this floor we have, well, this facility we have 3, I can't count. three things. So we want to, well, let's toggle them all closed. Alright, so we want a new collection. We're going to call it main facility computers. And then this first group here is warehouse floor. Like same thing we did the other day. And then inside that is placeholder for storage / syncing, which it's still on the feature board, like no work's being done on that feature yet. Right. Oh, I just looked at the signs. Okay, so we want 3 more groups. We've got group 20 is going to be radio control unit. And then we got group 21 computer. Group 22 crystal oscillator. There's a new thing. Implement autocomplete for name fields using resources and building names. That one's going to be a really straightforward feature to do. There's a built-in feature for this in the HTML spec. Pretty much all we do is anywhere we've got one of these inputs, we match it to an element which has every single name in it. It functions like in a similar fashion to how selection drop-downs work. It just means, like, as I type CRY like S, you're automatically matching names, and it is just like names of things. Like the feature isn't designed for like what the select drop down does, where it has like names and values attached to those names. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to do. So here in radio control units, we are making our own quads. And it looks like it's all one big manifold, despite having 3 rows. It's all coming out one belt. So 288 is going to be raw quartz, 2 quartz. And I can't remember if there's an alternate recipe for quartz. I know there's an alternate recipe for silica. Well, yeah, there's the pure quartz recipe, but I was thinking like, oh, is there like a limestone thing? But no, that's like the cheap silica recipe, or the silica concrete thing, or whatever it is. So yeah, no need to add things to the recipe selection presets for this. So double check my mic check thing. Yeah, we good there. So we're making quartz. And it looks like that's the only on-site production being done. So, put that outside. So I'm going to add the 2 storage pool. There's a thought. Be adding a thing on, like maybe use content editable for editing names. Content editable for editing pool group collection names. So that could be like a toggle, like over here, that just says like enable content editable. So when I would click in here, which I can kind of fake the feature here. So we'll just quickly change this back to like pool whatever. So it was pool 1, 2, 3. So at the moment, you'd have to go into the pool settings in order to change the name. But with the content editable feature, we'd be able to edit it just like that. Well, there are some like caveats on that with how it can go a little bit funky. But that might be like a little bit more user-friendly. It would improve the user experience of, yeah, you'd have to go in and turn the feature on. But you'd only have to do like 1 click to get to the pool, or like use these navigations, and then you just start typing. Now, at the moment, the user experience is going to be like similar because it's just literally 1 click, 2 clicks, start typing, versus 1 click, 2 clicks, start typing. Well, it's there's an argument to be made there that it would be an improvement. That does mean I'll have to reload things just to make sure I haven't broken lit HTML's model of the DOM tree. So we want to send 3.75 radio control units to storage. Now this is going to turbo motors, so rather than reading off the sign, we can pop over and see what turbo motor floor actually says that it wants. Ah, there it is. 8.4375, that matches up with signage. Yay! So, new pool. So yeah, getting back to the content editable thing, one of the things I could do as a user experience improvement is if I have content editable mode on, when switching to a new, like adding a new pool, I could have it automatically. I'm not sure if the spec could do that, but it would be nice if I could have that automatically be like selected for editing. But I don't know whether that action itself is a good idea or not. Because you want to be able to manage user expectations, and if nothing else is automatically selected for editing when it opens, you don't want to be starting randomly. When adding new pool, if X accessibility research doesn't say, this is probably a bad idea. Right. So yes, to turbo motor. And I am realising I haven't set the default recipe here. I should go do that. Not crystal oscillator. Radio control unit. Which recipe is this? I was going to go open the thing, but it doesn't actually say. So here's alternate recipe 2. So assuming that everything is sorted the same as it is in the game, I'm going to guess that's radio connection unit. Which makes sense because it's got a high-speed connection on it. Yep, that matches up. Cool. 8. Numbers. 8.4375. Oh, that's the thing. There was a feature I was going to put in for the JSON encoding that I didn't note down earlier. Change to JSON function, well, state to JSON function to check if the resolved string value matches the calculation value. So this relates to this whole thing I was having where I was saving things and loading them, and the JSON document like basically losing the calculation values. I'm fairly confident I've got that fixed, but part of the reason why that happened in the first place was, when saving, we want to well, in some cases we want to definitely want to convert from calculations to numbers, but there was some cases where it was doing that when it shouldn't have been. And I'm thinking that if a token pass string calculation string matches the intermediary number or intermediary calculation string value, the stronger typed thing should take precedence. The only concern against doing that is having everything go through tokens scan means any changes or improvements that can be made there hit that first rather than the intermediary number and intermediary calculation types. Because they do resolve to those. Token scan does resolve to those two. Just it doesn't pass anything until needed. So new pool, supercomputer, and we don't have that entered in, so we can't do the same thing we did with the turbo motor. We're just going to put in exactly what it says. So now if we pop over to turbo motor, I want to have a look at the numbers on there. Yes, that's 8.4375. Nope, too far back. So we want to send all of those to the turbo motor to storage manifold. Yeah, so we see it's coming in. There's no surplus, so there's just the remaining items to account for. Of which rota should not be one. Wasn't I having issues with that last week? Oh, I haven't actually set the thing up. Oh yeah, because I spent all that time double checking if the amount was correct, and then I got distracted by the issues with the calculation features not behaving as expected. part of that thing with you know, getting into state of dev shit again. Part of that thing was having the math support and like the other interfaces added to Token Scan, so it could be actually be used as a replacement for deferred calculation. I just blindly like appended the operations to the value. So that meant the optimizations where you are dividing or multiplying by 1 or adding or subtracting 0 just get resolved to itself. Didn't get done. That's why when the calculation phase kicks in, one of the things the calculator does is it checks if there's a recursive flow thing going on, and that defaults to 1. So it says, let's times this value by 1. So rather than optimizing that whether or not that kicks in, I optimized all of the math things to say, if you are multiplying by 1, don't do anything. So, I forgot to take account of that. I could refactor and centralize all that logic, but it's kind of low priority shit. Oh yes, before we move on to this, we need to take care of the quartz numbers. Because there is a bit of a staccato thing going on here, but it's not necessarily terrible. It could just be a sign that the outgoing stuff is getting backed up, or it could be a sign of this mezzanine is overproducing. But what we need to do is pop open each manifold's thing, and we can see that this one needs 33.75 quartz crystal. Now, so long as quartz crystal isn't used in any of these, which silica, it's like I wouldn't want to copy over the raw quartz number, the quartz crystal should be fine. Except now I'm noticing the crystal oscillator. I can't do this floor until I've done the crystal oscillator floor. Oh, sorry, I can't do this mezzanine until I've done the crystal oscillator floor. I mean, I could do the math and I could put the numbers in, but Yeah, this is a floor that's had a lot of its stuff pulled out of it. So there's only 2 warehouse left. Yep. And there's no inline production. None. So all we want here is pool 89 going to be to storage. Yes, 2.8125. Now we need to go edit the global recipe selection. I'm going to set crystal computer. So now last week I was having to go into toggle stuff into the report view to get these changes to kick in. So this recipe icon list bug could be considered fixed just by virtue of turning the guards off, but I should really like make some effort to fix that properly. I'm going to make a note of it on the ticket for that, so I don't forget. Recipe icon list should display a recipe selection dialog. This has technically been fixed by removing the guard around the calculator view function. but it should still be fixed. Fixed properly. RE state management. So yes, 2.8125 crystal what's it? There's parts coming in. Circuit boards are over in that facility. Yeah, the crystal oscillators are upstairs, I think. Yes. Now, why is that sign there? Those signs are only meant to be over that side. I can't remember why that sign's there, but putting the directory signage for the opposite facility next to the walkway actually seems like a good idea. I don't know if I'll remember to do it next playthrough. It'll be somewhere in the stream, like the VOD archives, like me doing that. Anyway, I'm going upstairs because that's just going to storage. Oh, hang on a second. I've actually got to set the thing to actually go to storage. Double check I did that for the RCU. Yes. Okie dokie. Crystal oscillator. So we're doing the recipe with the rubber in it, which is not the default. We have 3 outputs, so we need at least 2 more pools. I don't think we have any inline reduction. Yeah, we good. So, first things first. Set the recipe in the what's it. No, I don't want Pomble Mine, I want Crystal Oscillator. To storage. So yeah, getting back to the whole templates thing, the example save files thing is a one type of template. The kind of templates I'm going on about here is saying I want a entire collection that has things like a warehouse floor. Maybe give it a programmable interface to say I want this many floors on it. So we'll put that on the notes because that just popped into my head. Give it a programmable interface so users can say, give me this template with this many pools. With these fixed pools and this many. Well, these fixed pools / groups and this many additional pools / groups. Because then I could be doing a thing where I click a button and I get like all of this set up in just a few clicks. Anyway, yes, next one. So that one's not being used anymore. So we got the computer one. And that says 2.8125. We can quickly go in and double check. Yep, 2.8125. Go to computer. v25. Oh yeah, set up the output while we're here. Bloop. And then this one's to motors. Now, is this one actually getting used? So that's completely backed up. What is motors actually set to? Yeah, so it looks like we were maybe using that recipe at some point, but now we're not, so we can actually dismantle the thing. Oh, well, we're not actually going to dismantle it because that would take too long. I'm doing like a data entry stream today. Just making sure the sign isn't upside down. Let's wait for autosave. It does mean that we're sending too many resources in, so that gets back to what I was saying earlier. It's like, oh, there seems to be a bit of staccato flow going in with the quartz crystals. Might be because they're getting backed up. Well, at least one manifold is getting backed up. So the production would still be going on, the items would be getting sent downstairs to go to storage and then the sink, because I think the bin's full. Okie dokie. That does mean that I have a pool in here that I don't need. And I haven't implemented the feature to take it out yet. So we'll just manually get rid of that. So that was pool 95. I had a brief look at the WYSIWYG thing for the save editing, because it would be nice to just be able to collapse the groups and then go edit things, but it's going to be quite a complex feature to do. Okie dokie, so we were checking on the quartz crystals. So now the is it this floor or the other floor, or what? There's something like I've missed something here. Did I leave the wrong recipe on? Yeah, that's the correct recipe. And again, this is another indication of why I need to have the tree view on the ingredients, saying like this thing needs comes from this thing and this thing and this thing. That's not going to be inside. Well, it's going to be partly inside the UI repo, but it's mostly going to be inside the like the guts of it, like the production. Well, it's just production calculator, production calculate UI. It's going to be inside like the main guts of it, because at the moment it recursively goes through everything until it's satisfied all of the ingredients to come out with a result. So what I need is either a secondary call or a option to have additional output which says like, this is the recursive view of it. So yeah, quartz crystal, that says 45, and I'm sure something else on here needs it as well. So I'm gonna leave off adding numbers into here, because they're probably gonna be wrong. So we'll set that to 0. So the data entry is a little bit incomplete over that side. So the next thing to be doing would be data entry for here. Let's just check the stream time. Yeah, 30-minute stream. I think we're gonna just like call it for now, take a break away from the computer for a bit. Because we've got some stuff done. So we'll get that saved into the Git repo. And I have been giving more thought to that whole thing of how do we get the data open and not have a big headache with the code. So I haven't figured it out yet, because I'd be wanting the CI/CD steps of the data repo to make sure the save files were valid, which means a whole bunch of code needs to go in there. And some of the code that would need to go in there only makes sense for the UI. So, bit of a whoopsie there. Well, actually, I can go over that in greater detail now that we've saved. Let's set the right VS Code window. Plan UI, yep, that's the right one. Right, so this would be a similar thing I did with the community highlights site builder and data folder. So the data is in a separate repo now. It wasn't for a while. I can't remember if the site builder repo is actually open. It might be one of the private repos, which is probably why the data repo is separate. Aside from wanting to share the data with the actual like Clips archive thing without manually doing things. So let's quickly run this. So the data's over here. The JSON schema is over here. Files relating to that are in here, and maybe in here, and maybe in here, and maybe in there, and probably around some of there. Like I did try to put all of the JSON related stuff inside its own files, but I would need to have CI/CD functional, and I would also want to not have the UI repo be too dependent on the data repo. Like, it would be nice to just have it to be only to be dependent for the schema and the thingy save files themselves, because then it makes it a hell of a lot easier for people to like send submissions in. I mean, I've got no expectation that people would be interested in doing that, but the feature's implemented to allow for it. Mostly because in order to like reduce the burden on myself and avoid issues with the GDPR, there is no login functionality and no URL based stuff. I did initially have URL based support planned, but once I figured out I need groups and collections, I'm pretty sure that if you did this in the same style that Skim does it, it'd probably like break some browsers with the URL being too long. I've got the thing off. Yeah, so like this, like the equivalent of this would be like one pool's worth of production for like Skim. It's like one of the things on my mental to-do list, which isn't actually on the production planner to-do list, which I should add it onto the notepad now. Actually add the open in skim button. So like opening the entire state of the planner inside a browser from the URL, not feasible. So the alternatives I've looked at a bit is maybe reopen some of my IPFS code. So it's like it's a peer-to-peer storage solution. That has its own downsides because unless the browser has native support for IPFS, you have to go through IPFS gateways. Those might have their own privacy policies, which then need to be surfaced in the production planner. And the other thing I've considered is, let's like kind of take options of putting a cloud, like a save to load from cloud dialog in, and that most definitely has GDPR implications. I'd have to implement it in such a way that none of the code activates until you have explicitly agreed to use it. So I can't like preload like Google stuff. I'd have to say like, oh, do you want to export from, or import from Google Drive? Here's the thing, here's their privacy policy. And then try as much as possible to not do any server-side token processing, which is like a similar way the little Twitch info preset tool is set up. It uses the Twitch API, but it does not possess the tokens. It explicitly uses the authentication thing from Twitch, like it's designed for. We're going to do in-browser stuff and not server-side. Anyway, I'm waffling on too much, so that's going to be all for today. Probably might be on later. I'm just going to take a break away from the computer for a bit. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.